This recording is for material in Chapter 1, so we're going to go ahead and do an example where we calculate equivalent units, then calculate per unit cost, and then do the cost assignment calculations. So this is actually one that we did in class. I'm just redoing it because we did it right before the last exam, and so I know a lot of people weren't paying attention. So the polishing department of the major company has the following production and manufacturing cost data. So the beginning inventory had 1,600 units that are 100% complete as to materials and 30% complete as to conversion costs. The units started during the periods are 42,900. Ending inventory is 5,000 units, 10% complete as to conversion costs. We've got beginning inventory cost of 20,000 for materials, 43,180. Materials added during the period are 175,800. Labor and overhead added are 125,680 and 257,140. So the first thing we actually have to do is figure out how many units are transferred out because they don't tell us that. So we actually have to calculate the physical units. We have to figure out what's happening with the physical units. So we are going to need this information about the physical units in the starting inventory added and the ending inventory so we can calculate the physical units. So to get the physical units, they tell us the work in process at the beginning of the period is 1,600 units. They added in 42,900. So these are the usually we would call this like the goods available for sale, but these are the units in total that were available during the period. And they're just doing a proof here. So they're saying that, the total units available, they're kind of flipping this. So usually what we do is we take this beginning inventory, we add our purchases. So this is our stuff that we started during the period. That gives us our goods available for sale. And then we subtract our ending inventory, which gives us our cost of goods sold. What they're doing here is they're saying that this is the unknown and this is the ending inventory and we know this number. So they're saying we know this and we know this and we don't know this. Well, we're saying, okay, we know this, so we know this number, and we knew this number was 44,500, and we knew the 500, so this has got to be 39,500. So how many goods transferred out? It was 39,500. So we have the goods transferred out, so we're ready to go. So units transferred out, 39,500. They told us in the problem that the materials are put in place at the beginning of the process. So if materials are put in place at the beginning of the process, it's a 100%. So for your materials, they're 100%. And they also told us in the problem that the units are 10% complete as to conversion costs. So 5,000 times 10% is the 500%. So we're just adding down to get to the equivalent units for materials and the equivalent units for the conversion costs. Now, usually when I do this in class, I just will add the next piece below it. So just continuing down, I'll have the next section where I add together I'll have two columns and I'll have the conversion costs here, and I'll just start adding together the rest of the materials. So also they told us in this problem that the cost of the in beginning inventory materials had 20,000, and then they said that we added during December $175,800. So the total material cost we have is $195,800. So then I'm going to divide that by the total units, equivalent units we just calculated above, which gives us a per unit cost for materials of $4.40. Then we do the same thing for conversion costs. So the conversion costs, they told us from the beginning inventory was $43,180. The conversion costs added during the period, so that's made up of the direct labor and the manufacturing overhead. Okay, so conversion costs are the manufacturing overhead and direct labor. And then we're going to divide that by the equivalent units that we calculated in the first step and come up with a conversion cost per unit. Now, one thing you need to keep in mind is we have to keep track of the total costs that we have there. So the conversion cost that we are allocating are the 426. And remember, for the direct materials, what we were tracking was the 195,800. So the total costs that we're trying to keep track of are 800. This would be 11, 1, 2, 5, $621,800. So we need to keep track of that because that's what we're going to have to reconcile in the next section. So that's something we need to just keep in mind. So now when we're doing this, and so see right here, that's 621,800 because that's what we're trying to prove, is that we were trying to confirm that we allocated $621,800. So the transfer out, when we calculated 39,500 units transferred out, so the total cost there is the 1065 per unit for the conversion cost plus the $4.40 for materials, because a transferred out unit is 100% complete for materials and 100% complete for conversion costs. So when you add those two together, that's the cost of a unit transferred out. So you do the extension. We had 5,000 units that were complete for materials, so you multiply that out. We have 500 units that are complete for conversion costs. So when you add those together, you get the total costs.